to our European presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cahya Kusumarati. You can call me Cahya. So I'm honored to be your moderator in this session 3 on the third day of our first Indopet International webinar. Right now we will have two presentations in session 4. Mr. Erik Hendricks from in Holland University of Applied Science, Diemen, Netherlands. So good morning, Erik. And also Ms. Yanti Martowijoyo from Bina Nusantara International University, Jakarta, Indonesia. So good afternoon, Bu Yanti. Well, both presenter will be discussing about the rubric. As we know that the rubric is mostly used as assessment tools, usually in the form of metrics or grid that will be used as tool to interpret and grade students' work against criteria and standards. Rubric is very important tool that has been used almost in all pedagogical methods that implemented in Indopet project. Well, in this session, presenter from Netherlands will explain about the method in detail, while Indonesian presenter will share about the 6 months implementations of pilot result. After both presenters finish their presentation, there will be a question and answer session at the end. May we remind all participants that we will mute all voice connection during presentation session. Within question and answer session, as moderator, I will ask 1 or 2 participants to activate audio connection and directly ask question to presenter. But mostly, participants can ask question by using a chat feature. Now I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Erik Hendricks. Mr. Hendricks, he is a full-time senior lecturer entrepreneurship in Holland. His educational background is business, economic, and innovation pedagogy. In 1999, he was one of the founders of the retail and entrepreneurship educations. He is also member of the National Platform on Entrepreneurship Education since 2001. Without further ado, may I please call Mr. Hendrik. You will have 10 to 15 minutes of time to deliver your presentation. Time is yours.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much, all of you. Welcome. As you can see, it is early morning here in Europe. Together with me is my colleague Ruth Romein. She is actually our expert in learning strategies, and she will be also to join in the question and answer session. I would like to go now to my presentation as requested by the moderator. It will be a maximum of 10 minutes. So, okay, I hope you can see me. Yeah, this is what we want to do: introduction of the participants, the rubrics, cooperation, students review, and the question and answer session. With me, we did a project together with Yanti Martowijoyo, difficult name all this for me, from Venus, and known her for a long time. Yep, hello.
Sorry, sir. Please share your PowerPoint, share your screen.
Okay. Okay. Again.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let's start again. Okay, let's start again. Selamat datang. With me you can see my colleague Ruth Romein. She's actually the expert on learning strategies, and we together will do this presentation. Let me introduce who we are, who we will see today. We do this together with the people from BINUS. And from BINUS we work together with Ibu Yanti, and knowing her for a long time, indeed one can say she's a passionate teacher. As mentioned before, Ruth is my colleague and she's expert on learning strategies. My name is Erik Hendricks and I come from the entrepreneurial education in Holland. Let's first start with the word, what is actually a rubric? And rubric is maybe well known to you, but it's actually what Webster defines as a guided list specific criteria for grading and scoring academic papers and projects and tests. Have in mind papers, projects and tests. So a multiple choice question is not an order in this one. Or I'd say more academically a cohort set of criteria for students' work. Well, where does it bring us? Why should we use these rubrics? We notice that rubrics helps students a lot with understanding actually what are the components and expectations of an assignment. Very often we see in education that students actually don't know exactly what has been expected from them and what are the elements of their work. A rubric helps students in defining actually these expectations and defining actually the components of a certain assignment. Not only for students, it's also they are aware actually of what they've been learning, because a certain momentum when they have not fulfill all the requirements, you can easily help students with defining actually where are the points of criteria in which they score or not score. So they become actually aware of what they're learning. And especially if you think in the long term overview of learning, they can also learn actually what they have to learn for next time. Over time, it gives you feedback, and feedback that's actually covered, and not only because it's oral, they can register it and can use it for the next time. It also helps instructors, because what it does actually, knowing that you have to assign mark assignments, it helps you to mark the assignments for students actually all on the same level, all to the same degree, and actually will be much more objective and not so subjective way of assessing students. In long term, it saves you time. To be honest, on short term, it's very time costly, because you have to actually create the rubrics, and very often you have to rearrange the rubrics because it shows actually that the students or the colleagues did use it or read it or understand it in a different way. But in the long term, it works and saves a lot of time. If you do it consistently, like we do in the Netherlands, all our projects actually, we have rubrics. Students learn to think in a certain way. They learn in a way that is more effective and more sustainable. You learn to think in a certain way where you get insights, underlining, and all these other words actually, which is hard to measure but hard to learn. Students are learning that in a better way, to say so. And it also helps you in clarifying what you want from the students. What is more important, what is less important, you can work on this one. We did it also in our colleagues when we do, when we make a new rubric, a set of rubrics, we discuss them amongst us and we ask ourselves, is this clear for you, for me, but also especially for the students? What's the benefit for the students to work with this rubric? What did you learn from this rubric? It is a way of taking control and taking a good look on what you are actually expecting from your education. Easy ways to create a rubric, and as you said, we have 10 minutes, so we just go roughly and quickly through this one. You first have to define actually what you want to know. What is your learning objective? What do you actually want? And we did this several times in workshop, and we always noticed that a lot of time, very often, teachers say, well, but you know what I mean. But that's not the point. The point is write down exactly what do you want your students to learn. What's the objective? What's the goal of the whole story? Yeah. Choose your type of rubric. We come to that later on, and we then define the assessment criteria. It looks very easily, and the rating scale, of course, but if you write it down, that turns out that it's a question of good writing, a good understanding, and be very clear to each other. These are the steps to make a rubric. Very short, very quickly mentioned as before, but let's now go to a rubric. This is actually the whole idea. We use over here very often this scale of excellent, good, sufficient, and insufficient. We also experimented with 5, 7 or more or less, But we noticed that for our students, this one works the best. The criteria, and be aware that this criteria should be a limited list. Don't make it too long, don't make it too hard. What we see very often in discussion is actually that the difference in points you can vary on this one. Yeah. And what is actually good when what's good when it's excellent, sorry. So this difference between good and excellent is something you can show to your student, you can show to your colleague, you can discuss with them, and you can give them insights. And actually, when we are talking about good, when are we talking about excellent? And the same way goes to sufficient and insufficient. Yeah. For an example, you will be able to assess, this comes from a course, Globalization and Internationalization. Let's go through this one, and you will be able, as always, the keyword to use this one in defining your learning outcome. For those who are not economics, we do also, when we have a workshop, we do this one with baking cookies. And that's a very funny one always to exercise. Okay. What we do this one, we do this with a paper. We do this for a team presentation. And a team presentation, we will record all the team presentation. And during the team presentation, we mark them in the rubrics, and afterwards we give the students the possibility to discuss the marking and the presentations. For students, this gives them insight in actually in what they are doing, how they're performing, how they've been measured. So they know actually that the way of learning, what they've been doing, if that's correct or not correct. And at the end, some PowerPoint presentations. But especially papers are a good thing to work on. Papers, for example, as a result of a project work. Yeah. To go back to actually what we are doing, we are assessment format. The criteria are, if you go to that one, the recommendation should be, well, you can read it for yourself, and later on you can read it again. So what we have actually on this format, we have 3 criteria. We have a market analysis, we have a strategy, and we have making a roadmap. Like the necessary adjustments, these are tricky words, identifying necessary adjustments. So this is actually very tricky to mark in the normal way. So what we do actually, we do this, for instance, like this. This is a rubric which we use, and now we see the points actually again. But then conducting an environmental analysis. So you see the difference between excellent and good is, well, you can see that actually it starts over here, that identifying is important, but then also the exploring part is different from the good part. And even from sufficient. Yeah. And if you see what you can say as an incomplete or irrelevant analysis, then of course it will be insufficient. If you look at these words, actually this is much higher ranked. And what we also do sometimes for some courses, actually when courses are much more coming, the topic comes back more often, then we say that a good can be in a year afterwards, a year later, or a course later, can be the sufficient. So, and even then you have another one over here as a rubric. Oops. What more can we tell on this one? I think it's now time to change actually to how we did it. I would like to ask Ibu Yanti if she could join and take over the work. But let's first, okay. Yanti? Okay, not here. Let's first go. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, thank you for your wonderful presentation, Mr. Hendricks. Yeah, it was indeed a very interesting presentation, since Rubric is a powerful tool for students, so they will get clear expectation, what are objective of learning, and also for teachers so they can understand level of mastery from each students. Well, next we will have again presenter from Business International University Jakarta, Miss Yanti Martowijoyo. Good afternoon, Bu Yanti. Yeah, we will hear from BINUS, yeah, how BINUS adopt rubrics, yeah. But before we start, may I introduce again Miss Yanti profile, yeah. Miss Yanti, she joined BINUS University in 2009. She got her PhD degree in accounting from University of Glasgow, Scotland, UK. She has been teaching research methodology, financial accounting, and project hatchery courses in undergraduate program and financial management in postgraduate program. Besides teaching, she also has an interest in research that allow her to present her research papers in prestigious accounting and finance conference in Asia, Australia, Europe, and New Zealand. Her research interests are capital market-based accounting research in parity earnings quality, dividends, and initial public offerings. So now may I please call Miss Yanti. You will have 10 to 15 minutes to give your presentation. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bu Cahya. A very good afternoon from Jakarta. I will share what have been done in BINUS International in terms of the usage of rubrics in the learning process. I'm also accompanied by two students, my students here, so they can also share how rubrics are actually used in the learning process in BINUS University and what is the advantage of the rubrics on their learning process. Let me share my screen first. Share.
Okay.
This one? Is it?
Make sure you're showing your screen. Just display it.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So what have been done in BINUS? We actually have been using the assessment rubrics since 2012, but particularly for grading the essays or student projects. So it's for the summative assessments. We never share our rubrics to the students before. However, in the pet projects, we learned that there are other useful things of the usage of the assessment rubrics. So we then apply also for grading the exam, the in-class exam. So students sit in the exam and then we grade their answer based on the assessment. So it's quite similar, but not only for essays and student projects. So the usage for the summative assessment tool. However, the most important thing, in my opinions, is using the assessment rubrics in class learning process as the formative assessments, not only for the lecturers or the teachers, but also for students. Because using the rubrics in the class, it helps me to give feedback on time with the students, and also clarify my expectations. So from time to time, then students will understand what is actually expected from them, like what Eric also already showed, that there are the grade of excellence, good, average. Sometimes students do not understand what we mean by good and what we mean by excellent. By using the rubrics and share that rubrics in the class with the students, and then from time to time students now is able to understand our expectations. Now, in the last semester, I used these rubrics in the class in the course accounting theory for the group discussions, for students' presentations, as well as their essays. So before they submitted their essays, we have a consultation time when I use that rubrics and then one-to-one with the students, we together assess the draft of the essays and then see in which part of the essay that the student need to improve. And then when they submitted their essays, they know that they kind of reaching the expectations, although sometimes because of the time or availability for the students or because of the busyness of students with other courses, they cannot fulfill all excellence grades, but they know that they have to go to that way. I think that what we have done in Venus, and then we are going to do it again here in Venus for the next semester for the pilot, and we use that not only in the accounting programs but also in other programs under the Faculty of Business, especially for grading the exam. But what I feel, and I feel very helped indeed, is using the rubrics on the in-class learning process by giving feedback and to clarify my expectations. Now, I would like to ask my students to share their experience, how the rubrics is used in the class and how they think about it. Albert and Andrew.
Okay. Andrew? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon from Jakarta. I hope you're all well at your end. So before we begin, let me introduce you to myself and my friend. My name is Albert, and this is...
My name is Andrew.
And we are from the batch of accounting. Under the class of... We had some class with Miss Yantis, and we are also having one right now. And we've been into some courses that are using these kind of rubrics. So this accounting theory class and research methodology class. And we'll be sharing you our experiences and comments regarding the usage of this rubric. So, okay, so in my opinion, I think information sharing is very important right now, particularly in the teaching pedagogy itself. Why? Because we have to know what the teachers, what the professors are expecting from us, and we have to know what are the best practices that will be used later in our professional world. And I think these kind of rubrics are introducing us and training us to be more professional and more objective regarding our work, because I think now the world is getting more standardized, and this kind of rubric is answering the need of standardization in the university life itself. And I believe that this kind of rubrics were very helpful in terms of my work and my friends' work grading, because when we see the rubrics, we know that what Miss Yantis was expecting from us. For example, in our paperwork in accounting theory, we know that Miss Yanti was expecting an organized kind of essay, a very critical assessment regarding the critiques of the previous literatures. And I think that was really helpful, because we know what should be included in our essay and what should not be included in our essay. So the waste of the work that we are going to make will be very minimum, from our latest work from Miss Yanti. And
okay, so thank you, Albert. So more or less, I actually have the same, pretty similar opinions with Albert regarding the use of rubrics for assessing to assess our papers, our tests, our any assignments. And it like what Mr. Yanti has said, that we students, we don't know what the lecturer expects from us. We don't know what is excellent, what is good, what is not good, and the use of rubrics to tell us the details that we need, so that it will be excellent or very good or good. It's very important for us. It gives us the tools on how to start our assignment, how to start the essay. We know that the details that we have to include from the beginning, and I think it really helps us students, and it's pretty helpful. And yes,
Adding to that, I think also when we use rubrics, the lectures, after the assessments, we are going to identify very easily what our weaknesses and what aspects that we are excellent at. So in other words, we will be knowing what aspects that we have to work, that we have to be more focusing on later on in the next project. So using these rubrics, we will be having a lot of benchmark, a very good benchmark regarding identification of weaknesses and excellence of our work. That will be very helpful for our improvement in the next work. And as well, I think it also, last opinion, it will also sort of establish a control system between the lecturers and the students. So what I mean is the lecturers will be forced, or will be better at being more objective and giving a valuable inputs and objective inputs to students. So it will help prevent the lecturers be subjective and be not fair. And I think they will be more inclining to give a fair opinion regarding the work to the students. And I think that will be very important to today's world. I think that's all. Do you have any addition to that?
I think yes, I agree with what Albert has said. So first, it gives us the details on how we should do our assignments. We know what things that we have to input, what things that we have to do in our assignment to become excellent. And the second thing, it gives the control system for us between the lecturers and the students. So we the students know transparently in what components, in what categories that our lecturer actually grades us, and it's very good, and it's pretty helpful. And it also gives us the benchmark on so that we know what the lecturer expects from us, and in the next subjects, it's also it gives us ideas on how to improve ourselves during the assignments.
Okay. So, to sum up, so rubrics are very helpful in terms of providing us with transparency, or providing us with the objectivity, providing us with the providing us with the the benchmark that should be in line with the today's professional world that we are very needing right now. I think that's all. Thank you very much, and I do hope you are having a good luck later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, Bu Cahya, so that's from my students. I'm also surprised with their comments. They never in detail telling me about this one, but yeah, that's a good comment, I think. And so that's, I think, the end of our presentations from me, Ruth, and Eric. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih Bu Yanti. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah. So as the experience, rubric is a powerful tool for giving feedback and clarify what is the teacher expectation, and it has been confirmed by the both students. Yeah. Thank you very much again. So right now we will move to the question and answer sessions. Do we have questions? All right. Well, we still don't have any question yet from participants. Yeah. And that's okay. So it is the question from me. Yeah. So what are the major challenge for teachers to create the rubrics? Yeah. And what teachers need to prepare? Yeah. In the first time when they want to create a rubrics, you can ask from Hendrix or from Bu Yanti perspective, please.
The most challenging thing is to formulate your learning objectives. What do you want them to do? we noticed in our workshops that they formulate their learning outcomes very small, like did they have eye contact, or dus you have formulate the learning objectives in a more abstract, is that?
Yeah.
Way. Dus,
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Ruth. How about from Miss Yanti? Yeah, what do you think? What is the major challenge for teachers to create a rubrics?
For me, the challenge is the time. It's quite time consuming at the beginning because we have to synchronize between the learning outcome of the course, the learning outcome of the assignment, and the rubric itself. Sometimes I also have to synchronize with the average student's capabilities because sometimes when you develop a syllabus, you think that your students already in a certain level. But during the first and second meeting, then you know actually what is the actual level of learning of your students. So therefore, sometimes I will adjust my rubrics according to what's the course, the syllabus, so the course learning outcomes, the assignment learning outcomes, as well as the students' capability. So it's quite time consuming and hard as well, but once I got that settled and I know my students also understand what I mean in the rubrics, then the grading and it's not a burden anymore. For example, the counting theory, I have many groups but for the essay, I think I grade about 14 essays. Yeah, 14 or 15 essays. And it only took me about 2 days. Usually for the essays, it will take me like for the 10 essays for like 3 or 4 days or a week sometimes. But for the last round, for the 15 essays, it only took me like 2 days to grade. So it's become enjoyable in a way. Thank you.
So well, thank you very much for the answer. Yeah, so from Miss Ruth, yeah, she emphasized again the important, yeah, to formulate the learning objective. So we already know the goal, right? And then from Miss Yanti, yeah, she said that well, although it's time consuming, yeah, maybe at the beginning your rubric is not settled yet, yeah, but after it is settled, yeah, and then you can grade, you can give a grade easily for the students, yeah, as the experience. Well, we have several questions, yeah. Here is the first question from Mr. Rafika. He is from Aceh. Yeah. So he want to have more explanation from Mr. Eric. Yeah. Example of the rubric that you have been used. Yeah. Maybe he wants to elaborate more that what you have been present. Yeah. Mr. Eric, please, time is yours.
Okay. I guess I will go to my screen. Well, yeah, I guess I'll go to my screen. Oh, okay. Over here you can see an example of a rubric, but this is a part of what we explained. Like this is actually what the topic is about, and the criteria are these three. So to be short, the market analysis, actually, this is an example of how you can make a rubric. And then what you do, actually, you read actually the paper of the students and you identify actually if these elements are actually in the student's work. I hope this one actually explains this is an example, and what you shouldn't do is actually like good, excellent, better, these kind of words. So you should be very clear on what you are actually doing. I hope this gives you some information. Maybe Ruth can add something to it.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit confusing about the. You're talking about learning outcomes, eh?
Yeah.
And you were talking about in your presentations about assessment criteria, but that's the same. Maybe that's a bit confusing.
Could be.
And no, I don't have anything to. Is it clear, the answer?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Rafika, is it clear? Well, later, each session we have the recording session. Maybe he was late to join our session today. Yeah. So for Mr. Rafika, he can watch again from the beginning because Eric has been present a little bit about it. Yeah, the example of the rubric. And the next, we also have a question from Mr. Ahmad Ari Sandi. Yeah. His question is, how do we measure effective sight when learning process in class to our students? Yeah, maybe he want to ask about how we know, how effective, we can use these rubrics in the class or not. How you differentiate or when you can decide, okay, in this part I will use rubric, the other I will not use it. Please, maybe from Bu Yanti and Mr. Eric can explain.
I think if Yanti could start with this one because it explains a little bit what she's doing in classroom.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So please, Ms. Yanti.
Okay. I think the rubrics are very good for the essays. So if you have an assignment like or assessments on essays, on student presentations, student projects, but not like a multiple choice questions, there's no need to use the rubric whatsoever, or the one which is only have one answers, one correct answers, such as the math or stats, where you need only to have one correct answer. However, for example, in the accounting, for these semesters, although it is principles of accounting or financial accounting, we also use the rubric because although accounting has a certain answers about the number, for example, using the debits and credits, but we would like also to assess the process. So, for example, if the students get the debit and credit, the accounts are correct, but the number is not correct, so we have that as, for example, average order. But if they are all good, they are all correct, the numbers and the accounts, and then we will put that into the goods, and then if the students could explain about the process, then that would be an excellent grade. So I think that's what is practiced here in Venus. I don't know about you, Eric. You might add to that one.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's so you explained it very well, Yanti. You can't use it with multiple choice, but more for the higher order of thinking, like creating, analyzing, and not just about reproducing knowledge.
Yeah. So especially in higher education, where the point is that knowing is not only the thing, but also and knowing about not the thing, but opinions, research, underlining, clarifying, all these words which are actually very much to higher education, where it's not necessary only to know, but to use it and use the higher order of thinking. At that point, actually, that's always hard to measure and to know actually what do you as students have to do to show in order to show actually that you are capable of this higher order of thinking. And at that point, actually, that you can use actually very good these rubrics. Not on do you know, but more how do you know, why do you know, what are the basics, what elements led to these kind of things. If you are talking about these kind of things, that actually helps the students in clarifying his thinking, his answer, in measuring actually this kind of steps.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Eric and Bu Yanti. Yeah, it's a very comprehensive answer, I think. And it's also related with the next questions. Yeah, the next question is from Mr. Darum Budiarto. Yeah, he asks about usually the rubric used to research the qualitative data. How do you think about this statement? Qualitative.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
If it's like previously mentioned, if it's all about the data itself, no, I wouldn't use it. But at momentum, you go and talk about the interpretation of data. That's actually then I should use rubrics, because it's about interpretation, which is actually shows actually this ability of the student in a higher thinking order. Because if you're just reproducing, no way, I shouldn't use rubrics. But at momentum, you use actually, you want to know the most critical part, most important part of data is what do data tell me.
Explain.
So explanations, analyzing, and these kind of words, then I should use it, yes, but not as a simple mentioning it.
Okay. So Bu Yanti, do you want to add more? Okay, I think it's enough. Okay. Well, okay. So next we have another questions from Miss Nur Kamima. She asks for the both presenter. Yeah. In your opinion, which one is more objective for giving mark to students in a number 1 to 10, or using statement like good, excellence, etc.? Please, Eric and Bu Yanti.
Okay. Well, I want to address the same question to her. What does a 10 means? In some countries over here, a 5 is the best mark, and a 5 is worse, and 1 is the best mark. So what does a number means? So in my opinion, I shouldn't go from 1 to 10. I would go to excellent and to poor or insufficient. But again, what you a certain momentum, you should translate the excellent to a certain number. That's true, yes. But it's a tricky thing. But then again, the advantage of excellent, like the rubrics, is that for some questions which are more important than the other ones, you can rank them higher, you give them a higher mark. That's true.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. So he remind us again, yeah, the mark in each country, it could be different. Yeah, maybe in Indonesia, 10 mostly is 10 is excellence, but it also could be different in another country. Miss Yanti, do you want to elaborate more to answer Miss Nur questions? Yeah, which one is more objective for giving mark in a number 1 to 10, or using statement like good, excellence? Please.
Thank you, Bu Cahya. I think it's not. I will give remarks not on the objectivity, but how the usefulness. I think for the students' feedback, if we would like to give feedback to the students, I think the qualitative remarks is much better. So you have done a good job, or your work is still on the average, so you did the excellent job. Things like that, which is more impact, have more impacts on the students. However, due to our education system, then we need somehow to grade them into numbers, because that is needed for calculations of the GPA and things like that. Since our education system in Indonesia still needs the numbers, then we have to do the numbers. But I think for the feedback for students, I care more about that rather than the grades itself. I think the qualitative remarks is much better. Thank you, Bu
Well,
Zakia.
thank you, Bu Yanti. Yeah, she remind again us, yeah, that qualitative remark, yeah, will give more impacts to our students. So she prefer to do that. Yeah. Well, is it any questions more?
Yeah.
Well, we still don't have any questions yet. We still have like 15 minutes, 14 minutes for our discussions. Yeah, well, my previous questions to you, yeah, what the teachers need to prepare, yeah, before they want to create a rubric. Please, Hendrik or Miss Yanti. What teachers need to prepare?
They need to prepare. First, they start, of course, with their learning outcomes
Mm.
and their learning objectives. We saw a question about that. The learning outcome is what you want them to do. So, for example, an essay or a report or a research report. And the learning objectives is how they come, how they reach the learning outcomes. So they have to think very clearly about every step the students have to do and their path they have to go to the learning outcome. So, it's also very important you have an agreement with your other teachers, So you have to calibrate about what is good and what is bad. So it takes a lot of time. Are there other things they have to prepare?
Well, the most important thing is that you should know actually for what are the expectations from the outcome which your students are preparing, because and also what is in my opinion is very important is to think backwards, in the sense that if you have produced your rubrics, be honest to yourself. If you present it to the students, can a student work with this one actually? Because the whole goal is not for you to measure and to assess, but the goal of the whole exercise is to give students insights in their work and to help the students in their further learning.
It's important for students to understand, but also for the other teachers who are lecturing the same subject.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to remind us again, about to have the clear expectations, So we have to, inform the students, yeah, and then we need to clarify with the students, yeah, whether the students understand or not, yeah, what is our expectation as a teachers, yeah, and we also need to inform, yeah, other teachers, yeah, so we can have the same standard, or we can have like same expectation with between the teachers, yeah. Bu Yanti, do you want add more what teachers need to prepare before they want to create the rubrics?
Yeah, I think it's quite similar to Eric and Ruth. I think to set the first thing, we have to have a set of learning outcomes and learning objectives, and we have also the same expectations with our other colleagues if the course is taught in parallel classes. As well as the assignment for them. It should be very clear. So when you give the assignment to students, make sure that your students actually understands what is asked or what is required from them. If in the first announcement they will just yes, but then during the course they need more explanations or clarifications about the assignment, and you should be able, or you should be available to answer them, because your rubric should be compatible to what their understanding about how to do the assignment. That's it. That would be my answer to.
Okay, thank you, Bu Yanti. Yeah, we understand that to have like very clear rubric, yeah, is really not easy. Yeah, we need to, maybe in the beginning, yeah, our rubric is not perfect, so we need to repair it again and again, yeah, and repeat it again to explain to the students and also to other colleagues. Yeah, thank you very much. So we have our last questions. Yeah,
We
from
have a question
Mr.
for my students.
Oh, yeah, Bu. Moment. We have a question from Mr. Saifuddin Zuhri. Yeah. He asks, is it possible to make less or more than 4 degrees in rubric? Yeah. Please, Mr. Eric first.
More degrees in rubrics. Well,
Yeah.
yes, if you know, of course, I think you mean actually excellent, good, sufficient, and insufficient.
Yeah.
If you talk in that one, that's of course possible. But on the other hand, it's like if you have good and bad, and you have excellent, a little bit excellent, and a little bit less excellent, the more problems you get actually with defining actually the difference between the excellent and less excellent. So the more grades you're going to do, the more problems you will get in defining the difference between the excellent and less excellent. Same goes the other way around. If you have good and bad, the criteria is only one then actually. So that makes also harder to measure actually. So in terms of time and experience, it shows that 4 is okay. Why not 5? Because very often you see also 5, because a lot of teachers just do for political or, let's say, emotional reasons, go for the middle one. But then again, that's not the problem. That's not good.
All right. All right. Thank you for the answer, Mr. Eric. Miss Yanti, do you want to elaborate more?
I think Eric's answer is quite clear.
Okay.
We also been trying for the 5 or even 10 grades, but the 4 grades is the best for us.
All right. Thank you, Bu Yanti, to emphasize that. Yeah. So Pak Saifuddin, yeah. So well, it's possible to add more or have less, yeah. But from the experience from these both experts from Europe or from Indonesia, 4 is the perfect one. Yeah. Do we have another questions? Well, we don't have any more questions. Yeah. And well, may I ask you my last question? Yeah. We can use we can use rubrics, yeah, to implement with another methods that we hear from the session 1 to until our session. Is it correct?
Yes, in order, yeah, we will strongly suggest actually that for the other examples of other projects in the Independent project, we can use or make actually with rubrics. Even for this session, it would be nice to make a rubric. So for Timberlake, it would be a nice example to measure actually a bit the quality and the outcome of this one actually.
Exercise.
The exercise.
Yeah.
It could be a good
Yeah.
exercise for you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Eric. Yeah. Well, actually, we do the rubrics, yeah, for the questionnaire for the participants, yeah, so we can have a feedback from participants regarding this webinar.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think the time is up. Yeah. We already come to the last questions. Yeah. So thank you very much for presenters and all participants who are very active in asking questions. Yeah. So may I inform you again that today's session will be recorded and will be published tomorrow on our website, webinar.simolec.org. All updates and information regarding the first Indopet webinar also can be accessed through that website address as well. You may also access previous recording session from session 1 in our website, or you may click link as display. Yeah. And also session 2, yeah, with the link as display. Yeah. And also the session 3. Yeah. So recording session from 2 days ago, yeah, yesterday, yeah, it's available now. You may download and watching again, yeah, and then you will not miss any sessions of series, yeah, in Indopet. Please also fill in and submit the questionnaire, which can be accessed through this address, bit.ly/Indopet. We would love to know your feedback regarding this webinar. Yeah. And don't forget, tomorrow we still have session 5. Yeah, inviting to presenter from Business Academy Aarhus, University of Applied Science, Denmark, and also from Yogyakarta National University. We will discuss about the innovation camp, so it will be attractive again. Yeah. Well, hopefully many lessons learned and inspiration that you got from today's session. Yeah. See you tomorrow in the same time and have nice evening. Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you, Miss Eric, Mr. Eric, Miss Yanti.
Terus di setelin yang tepuk tangan di Windows tuh kan keras banget.